Want to speak real Greek from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at GreekPod101.com.
In this series, you'll master Greek pronunciation. Proper pronunciation is essential in Greek, and in this series, you'll learn it in a fast, comprehensive, and easy way. In this first lesson, you'll learn about the building blocks of the Greek pronunciation system that will help you in future lessons. Greek is one of the oldest languages in the world, and its writing system is amongst one of the oldest on record. The modern Greek alphabet consists of 24 letters, each with a capital and a lowercase form. The letter sigma has an additional lowercase form used in the final position. But be careful not to fall into a very common trap. As you're learning to speak correctly, you shouldn't concern yourself with all the letters. That's right, forget them. You care about the sounds of Greek, and here they are. There are 34 consonant sounds and 5 vowel sounds. You can form every single word in Greek by using these sounds. Still seem complicated? Well, how about this? Of the 34 consonant sounds in Greek, you already know 26 of them. That's right. If you're a native English speaker, then you already make these sounds every day. You can also ignore all of the vowel sounds for the same reason. The only things standing between you and perfect Greek pronunciation are 8 new consonant sounds. You can handle that. Now let me introduce Stefania, who will be helping you to master these new sounds.
Γεια χαρά! Είμαι η Στεφανία.
Stefania will be giving you native pronunciation examples to imitate. But for this first lesson, just sit back and listen to the foreign sounds of Greek.
Γ, αγέρας, γύσω, γερνώ. Γ, γάτα, γόβα, άγουρος. Λ, ελιά, λιοπύρι, γελιέμαι. Νι, νιώτη, νοιάζομαι, πενιές. Ρ, ρήμα, αρένα, έρανος. Ρ, τρίζω, κράζω, πρόβα. Ψ, ψάχνω, κάτοψη, άψυχος. Τζ, τζόγος, τζαμαρία, ατζαμής.
In the next lesson, we'll look at the top 5 pronunciation mistakes Greek learners make. You'll want to make sure not to fall into these common traps. After that, we'll begin going through the vowels and consonants of Greek. This is your chance to learn how to correctly say all of the words you just heard. We'll finish up the series by covering some special topics that will really make your Greek sound natural. To close this lesson, here's a question for you. Why is it important to spend time on learning proper pronunciation, even if you're already an advanced speaker? The answer? You will be understood, and this will help you build more confidence as you communicate in Greek. For beginners, you're creating a strong foundation to build on, and for more advanced students, this is your chance to improve your accent and lose any bad habits you may have picked up. In this lesson, you'll learn the top 5 Greek pronunciation mistakes to avoid. These are common mistakes that Greek learners make, so pay close attention and make sure that you don't make these same mistakes too. Are you ready? Then let's get started. Unlike English, Greek has only 5 vowel sounds.
Α, ι, ο, ου.
The most common vowel sound in the English language is the schwa, which sounds like the A in the word about. This is the most neutral and the easiest vowel sound you can make because it requires the least amount of effort to produce. In rapid speech, many of the vowel sounds in English are often reduced to this easy-to-pronounce schwa sound. In Greek, however, there is no such schwa sound. All of the 5 vowel sounds are distinct, so if you don't pronounce them clearly, there's a high chance that you'll end up mispronouncing these vowels altogether. The only way to correct this problem is to practice pronouncing the 5 Greek vowel sounds cleanly and limiting yourself to using just these 5 vowel sounds and nothing in between. But don't worry, we'll cover all 5 Greek vowel sounds in the next lesson. Learners often mispronounce this letter as a G or an H, and oftentimes make it sound too throaty. This letter is tricky because the pronunciation changes depending on the surrounding vowels. When it precedes an I or an E vowel, it's pronounced very much like an English Y sound. For example,
Γη, γένος.
When it precedes an A, O, or U, however, it's pronounced like a loosely held G sound.
Γάτα, γόβα, γούνα.
Try to listen to as many native pronunciations of this letter as you can, and of course, make sure to practice pronouncing and memorizing all of the variations. We'll take an in-depth look at all of these sounds in Lesson 4. Although these are familiar sounds to English speakers, the th and the sounds often get mixed up. This is mainly a recognition issue, as both of these letters look similar in lowercase form and both are dental consonants. You need to learn to recognize and pronounce the right consonant at the right time through practice, otherwise you'll be easily misunderstood. Greek learners also commonly mispronounce the th sound as a d sound. This is likely due to the fact that many loanwords in English have their roots in Greek and were rendered as a d sound instead of as a th sound. Just remember that this letter is never pronounced as a d in Greek. It's always pronounced as a th sound. We'll take an in-depth look at these sounds in Lesson 4. This mistake is apparent. Both of these Greek letters look very similar to the English letters P and X. However, the way you read them in Greek is totally different. Listen to Stefania pronounce this letter by itself and then in a few words.
R, aria, τρίζω, πρόβα. Χαρά, χορός, χούφτα.
Reading Greek texts out loud can help you pick up mistakes and make corrections when you misread these letters. We'll take an in-depth look at all of these sounds in Lesson 4. Accents can be daunting for many Greek learners because they seem very foreign. This is especially true if your language doesn't contain any of them. However, they're nothing to be afraid of, as Greek primarily uses just one accent. Furthermore, its usage is very simple. This accent just indicates that you need to stress the syllable. That's it.
Κάλος, καλός. Νόμος, νομός. Θέα, θεά.
Notice how the accented syllables are emphasized? It's pronounced a little bit louder and longer than the surrounding syllables. And that's all there is to it. Wasn't that easy? We'll take an in-depth look at accentuation in Greek in Lesson 6. Now you know the top 5 Greek pronunciation mistakes to avoid. Try to be careful so that you don't make these same mistakes. Still feel a bit worried? Over the rest of this series, we'll cover all of these topics in depth. In this lesson, you'll learn all 5 Greek vowel sounds.
Α, ι, ο, ου.
With these sounds, you can pronounce any vowel that could possibly appear in Greek. Are you ready? Then let's get started. The first vowel sound is
Α, άρτος, ένατος, θάλασσα, παράμερα.
It's similar to the A sound in the word mama or papa.
Α, α. Α, α.
The next vowel sound is
έξι, τσελεμεντές, βέβαια, έπαινος.
It's similar to the E sound in the word bed. We should note that certain double vowel combinations in Greek aren't pronounced the same way as they're spelled. These 2 vowels, for example, are actually pronounced as a single vowel sound. As you can see, these 2 vowels are also pronounced like the E sound in the word bed. Listen to how Stefania pronounces this vowel sound.
ε, ε, ε.
The next vowel sound is
ίαση, οικείος, υιοθετώ, βαρύς.
It's the same as the double E sound in the word see. Like the previous sound, there are also many double vowels which can be used to represent this sound. Although spelled differently, all of them are pronounced the same way. Listen to how Stefania pronounces this vowel sound.
Ι, 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 ι.
The next vowel sound is
Ο, όγκος, τεντώνω, μόλοπας, μοσχοβολώ.
As you can see, there are 2 letters which can be used to represent this sound. The sound is similar to the O sound in the word pot, though try to open and round your mouth more than you would normally.
Ο, 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 ο.
The last vowel sound for this lesson is
Ου, ουρά, ακούω, καπελού, κουρούνα.
this double vowel is pronounced like the double O sound in the word pool. Listen to how Stefania pronounces this vowel sound.
Ου, ου. Ου, ου.
Well done! You've just learned all 5 vowel sounds in Greek.
Α, ι, ο, ου.
In this lesson, you'll learn the 23 Greek consonant sounds that are produced by single letters.
Β, γ, γ, β, ζ, κ, κ, λ, λ, μ, ν, ν, ξ, π, ρ, ρ, σ, τ, φ, χ, χ, ψ.
Most of these consonant sounds are identical to the ones in English. There are only a few tricky ones, but by the end of this lesson, they shouldn't be a problem. Are you ready? Then let's get started. The first consonant sound is
Β, βάση, βεβηλώνω, βουβός, άβρα, ευέξαπτος.
like the V in the word vanish.
Β, 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 β.
The next consonant sound is
Γ, γάλα, γωνία, γουρούνι.
this sounds like a soft, continuous G sound. The G should be held very loosely, enough so that your tongue and the back part of your mouth are barely separated from each other. Blow a steady stream of air between the small separation. You should feel a slight buzzing sensation. It almost feels like you're gargling a little bit. But remember the top 5 mistakes? You don't want it to be too throaty. This consonant sound occurs when you try to pronounce a G followed by an A, O, or U vowel. Listen to Stefania.
Γ, 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 γ.
When this letter precedes an I or an E vowel, it sounds like the next consonant sound.
Γ, γη, γένος, γηγενής.
It's almost identical to the English Y, like in the word Yiddish or yes. However, there's a very slight buzzing sensation similar to the previous sound. Listen to Stefania.
Γ, γη, γ, γη.
The next consonant sound is
Δ, δούλος, δοκάρι, δεδαλώδης.
like the TH in the word this. It's a familiar sound to English speakers, but learners often misread this as a D sound. Be sure not to commit the same mistake. Listen to Stefania.
Δ, 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 δ.
The next consonant sound is
Ζ, ζημιά, ζυζάνιο, ζεματίζω.
like the Z in the word zebra.
Ζ, 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 ζ.
The next consonant sound is
Θεός, θύμα, θάλασσα.
Like the TH in the word thanks or thin. Learners often mispronounce this, so listen to Stefania. The next consonant sound is
Κ, κακός, κοπέλα, κουκί.
like the K in the word smoke. This is the sound that this letter makes in combination with an A, O, or U vowel. The sound should be coming from the back of your mouth while you keep your lips rounded. The next consonant sound is
Κ, κερί, κήπος.
This is the same letter we saw before, but in combination with an I or an E vowel, it sounds like the K in the word key. Here you need to bring your tongue closer to the roof of your mouth. Listen to Stefania.
Κ, κ.
The next consonant sound is
Λ, λέλαπα, ολόμαλη, διόλου.
like the L in the word last.
Λ, 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 λ.
The next consonant sound is
Λιανός, κοπελιές, ηλιοκαμένος.
This is also known as the Spanish L. It's similar to the GLI sound in the word tagliatelle or the double L sound in the word millionaire. The key point is to make the tongue flat, much flatter than the regular L, and instead of using the tip of the tongue as you normally would, try to use the middle part of your tongue to contact the roof of the mouth.
Λ, λ. Λ, λ.
The next consonant sound is
Μίμος, μουγκός, τρεμάμενος.
like the M in the word must.
Μ, 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 μ.
The next consonant sound is
Ναι, κανόνι, να νουρίζω.
like the N in the word nice.
Μ, 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 μ.
The next consonant sound is
Νι, αρνιού, ανιαρός, μαλαματένιος.
This is also known as the Spanish N. It sounds like a combination between an N and a Y sound. English speakers can sometimes pronounce this sound when saying the word canyon or new. Instead of using the tip of your tongue as you would with a regular N, try to use the middle part of your tongue to contact the roof of your mouth.
Νι, νι. Νι, νι.
The next consonant sound is
Ξ, ξύνο, λοξός, εξέλεξαν.
like the X in the word fox.
Ξ, ξ. Ξ, ξ.
The next consonant sound is
Π, πέτρα, παπούτσι, υποπίπτω.
Like the P in the word pain.
P, 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 P,
The next consonant sound is
R, Tro, Artios, Prica.
This is also known as a rolled R or rolling your R's. Lightly contact the gums directly behind your top teeth with the tip of your tongue and try to direct just enough air through it so that the opening opens and closes rapidly, as if fluttering or vibrating. One useful trick is to think of olden day movies. Do you remember how Dracula first introduced himself? Like Doracula. Try to say it like this multiple times. You want to focus on the D and R sound in the word Dracula. This very quick transitioning from the D to the R can sometimes allow you to pronounce the rolled R sound. In Greek, the rolling sound can vary in intensity, from heavy to very slight, depending on the word and even style and speed of speech. Okay, let's break it down.
R, 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 R,
The next consonant sound is
R, Ora, Miros, Arestos.
This sound occurs when the rolled R is very, very slight, usually when the letter is between two vowel sounds. English speakers can sometimes produce this sound when pronouncing the R sound in words like better or butter, usually quickly and lazily. The key here is to make sure that the tongue gets really close to the gum ridge and then retracts back very quickly. Listen to how Stefania pronounces this sound.
R, 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 R,
The next consonant sound is
S, Sosias, Anasa, Sesuar.
like the S in the word sand.
S, 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 S.
The next consonant sound is
T, Τέταρτο, Ετούτος, Τιτάνιος.
like the T in the word take.
T, 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 T.
The next consonant sound is
Φως, φιλία, φαφούτης, αυτός, εύπορος.
like the F in the word find. The next consonant sound is
Χάος, χορός, χούφτα.
like the CH in the word yech or Loch Ness. This is the sound that this letter makes in combination with an A, O, or U vowel. Here's a tip. Blow a steady stream of air between your tongue and the back part of your mouth. You should hear a turbulent sound. The next consonant sound is
Χέρι, χίνα.
This is the same letter as before, but in combination with an I or an E vowel, it sounds a little bit like the H in the word hue, but with turbulence. This sound is pronounced in the front part of the mouth. Say a long drawn-out E, and while holding that mouth position, just exhale strongly. Listen to Stefania again. The last consonant sound is
Ψ, ψάρι, ψέμα, άψυχος.
This consonant sound is like a combination between a P sound and an S sound. Here's a great tip. You can produce this sound by saying the word upset.
Ps, ps. Ps, ps.
Well done! You just learned 23 Greek consonant sounds.
V, g, y, v, z, k, k, l, y, m, n, ñ, x, p, r, s, t, f, h, ps.
Want to get cheat sheets, audiobooks, lessons, apps, and much more every month for free? Just click the link in the description to get your free language gifts of the month.
In this lesson, you'll learn the basics of Greek pronunciation. Pronunciation refers to the manner in which a word is spoken, so don't focus on reading what's on screen. Instead, focus on listening and repeating. One of the aspects of a language is rhythm. Modern Greek is a mixed rhythm language with characteristics varying between those of syllable-timed and stress-timed languages. In syllable-timed languages, all syllables have equal duration, while in stress-timed languages, like English, some syllables are longer and some are shorter. Spanish. Spanish.
Now let's hear a Greek word. Όμορφος. Όμορφος.
Another aspect of a language is intonation. Did you notice the accent mark above the first letter? There is only one type of accent mark in modern Greek, the acute accent. It adds stress to a syllable. A stressed syllable usually lasts longer and has a slightly higher pitch than the rest. Other than pitch accents, there is no pitch system in Greek, like in Chinese, for example, where different tones define the meaning of words. Let's listen to that again.
Όμορφος. Όμορφος.
There's a golden rule in Greek concerning accents. The accent mark can only go on one of the three last syllables of a word. Let's see this in a longer word.
Ομορφόπεδο. Ομορφόπεδο.
This word, as well as the previous one, share the same root. However, the accent mark had to be moved over to a different syllable in order to comply with our accentuation golden rule. By the way, did you notice that although this word is longer than the previous one, it feels as if the syllables are pronounced faster?
Όμορφος. Ομορφόπεδο.
In general, you need to keep in mind that the duration of any syllable depends on whether the syllable is stressed and on the length of the word. Additionally, an unstressed syllable may have a different duration depending on its position relative to the stressed syllable. For example, in the second word, pre-stressed syllables take slightly longer to be pronounced than the post-stressed ones.
Imagine this rhythm is a roller coaster ride. The pre-stressed syllables are like going up to the highest point slowly. The stressed syllable is like waiting at the top for a while. And then the post-stressed syllables are like the very fast fall. Of course, while Greeks speak, these duration differences between syllables are very small and hard to notice. Ομορφόπεδο. Ομορφόπεδο.
Greek is considered a fast-spoken language. Laboratory experiments have shown that a Greek speaker pronounces more syllables per second than an English speaker. There are 5 vowel sounds in Greek that are represented by 7 letters and 4 double vowel combinations.
A, E, I, O, U.
It's really that simple. The vowel sounds in Greek are exactly the same as the vowel sounds in English.
A, E, I, O, U.
Okay, let's move on. There are 34 consonant sounds in Greek that are represented by 17 letters and 6 double consonant combinations. Let's hear them.
V, G, Y, V, Z, F, K, K, L, Y, M, N, Ñ, X, P, R, r, s, t, f, h, ps, g, ng, ng, b, mb, mp, d, nd, nt, ts, z.
In the previous lesson, you learned that around 25 to 30% of English words come from Greek, either directly or indirectly, which is quite a lot. But did you also know that apart from the Greek vowels, which are very easy to pronounce, out of the 34 consonant sounds in Greek, you already know 26 of them? That means that if you were to simply imitate a Greek speaker, your pronunciation would be correct most of the time. For example, listen and repeat after Chrissy.
Παρακαλώ. Παρακαλώ.
Chances are your pronunciation was pretty spot on. The P, R, K, and L sounds are practically identical to English. Don't forget that words get accentuated in Greek, so make sure to stress that final syllable with the accent mark. Repeat after Chrissy.
Παρακαλώ. Παρακαλώ.
Since most sounds in Greek are identical to English, you only need to pay attention to the few sounds that are completely new to you. There are only 8 unique Greek consonant sounds that you need to learn to perfect your Greek pronunciation. One of these sounds can be heard in the following word.
Συγγνώμη.
This word is often romanized like this.
Συγγνώμη.
This character isn't pronounced using an English G sound at all.
Γ.
It's like a very soft, continuous, and loosely held G, almost as if you're gargling, but don't make it sound too throaty.
Γ.
There's no such sound in English, but most people would transcribe this using the letter G, because that's the closest equivalent in English. Pronouncing it like an English G, however, would be a huge mistake. To get that sound right, your tongue and the back part of your mouth should be barely separated from each other while you blow a steady stream of air between the small separation. Another approach is to try to pronounce a G as if an H sound were to follow after it and hold that sound while you exhale. The after sound created by that H is what you're looking for. Listen as Chrissy demonstrates. Repeat after her.
Συγγνώμη. Συγγνώμη.
Well done. Let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what we've learned. In this lesson, you learned that the rhythm of the Greek language is mixed and follows a fast tempo. The accentuation can only go on one of the 3 last syllables. A stressed syllable sounds longer, but the longer the word, the shorter the syllables are pronounced. Pre-stressed syllables are generally longer than post-stressed syllables. Collectively, nearly all the sounds in Greek are identical to the sounds in English. And finally, there are only 8 new sounds that you need to learn. We've covered only the basics of Greek pronunciation. If you're interested in learning more, check out the entire course we created named The Ultimate Guide to Greek Pronunciation. In that course, we cover and break down every single sound in the Greek language, showing you mouth and tongue positioning and giving you tips to help you perfect your Greek pronunciation.
The question for this lesson is, when do you keep the final ni of a word? Many students get confused when they see some Greek words that end in ni, sometimes omitting that final ni. For example, then and the, not. Mean and me, don't. Tin and ti, the, and so on. So they ask me why this happens. I will explain the rule behind this in hopes that it will help all of you puzzled learners of Greek. Let's go into more detail. First, let's see what does the final ni rule say and which words get affected by it. The rule says that the feminine words tin, the or her, stin, to the, aftin, her, and the particles then and mean keep that final ni when the next word begins either with a vowel or the consonants kappa, pi, taf, xi, psi, or the double consonant combinations b, d, g, t, and z. In any other case, they lose it. Mean also loses its final ni before a punctuation mark or a scholarly participle in some standard expressions. For example, mη, don't, and χώρος μη καπνιζόντων, non-smoking area. The masculine words ton, the or him, ston, to, in, or, at the, έναν, one, αυτόν, him, and the adverb σαν, as or like, always keep that final ni. This rule applies to written speech only. In oral speech, many Greeks assimilate the final ni with the next word's initial letter, so ni is often not heard. Check out our assimilation videos in the Ultimate Greek Pronunciation Guide series on GreekPod101.com. Here are some sample sentences. Αυτόν δεν τον ξέρω, I don't know him. Χρησιμοποιώ τη σκούπα, I use the broom. Following up, let's see why we keep the final ni in some words. The reason is simple. If we were to remove the final ni from the masculine words ton, ston, αυτόν, and έναν, they could be confused for neuter words, especially when they define a noun whose gender we are not sure of. So, when we would see somewhere written τον νέο, without knowing the context, we wouldn't be sure if it's a neuter adjective, meaning the new, or a masculine noun in the accusative case, meaning τον νέο, the young man. Here are some more sample sentences. Ξέρεις τον νέο υπάλληλο? Do you know the new employee? Διαλέγω αυτόν και εκείνον. I choose him and him. Finally, there is one case where the current rule creates some uncertainty. By allowing us to write the, not, there might be cases where this negative particle might be mistaken for the conjunction the, roughly meaning however. For example, ο δάσκαλος μιλούσε, οι μαθητές δε γελούσαν. The teacher was talking, the students, however, were laughing. If the conjunction the would be mistaken for the verb's negation when reading, then the meaning would be different. The teacher was talking, the students weren't laughing. The problem is in written speech only, because in oral speech, the intonation helps make the distinction. This issue has created a lot of controversy among teachers, editors, and linguists, leaving students and other people confused. So some Greeks write then, always, while others follow the existing rule. I personally choose to always write then to avoid any confusion. Here are some sample sentences. Πρώτα γίνεται η συνέντευξη, κατόπιν δε γίνεται εξέταση. First, there's the interview. Later on, however, there's an examination. Δεν ξέρω τι να κάνω. I don't know what to do. Tip. If you have trouble remembering the rule's consonant letters, here's a cheat phrase that will help you remember them. Τσάι στην κατάψυξη και ένα bulldog στο jeep. Meaning, tea in the freezer and a bulldog in the jeep. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I hope this cheat phrase will help. The question for this lesson is, when do you use iota, ita, epsilon, epsilon iota, omicron iota, and epsilon iota? At the very beginning, the proper spelling of Greek words is something that has to be learned and memorized in the same way that you learned how to spell words in your own language. You need exposure and lots of practice. For example, in English, you memorize that it is tree and not tree, and it's tea and not tea. In Greek, though, things become somewhat easier as you gain knowledge of declensions and conjugations, especially when that E sound is at the end of an inflected word. Let's get into more detail. First, let's see what you have to know if that E sound is at the end of a word. Inflected words in Greek, such as articles, nouns, adjectives, and verbs, usually follow specific ending patterns when inflected. If you know the patterns, then the E sound at the end of such words is predictable. Here are a few generally safe rules. Number 1. The plural forms of masculine and feminine os-ending nouns, as well as masculine os-ending adjectives and pronouns, will end in omicron iota. For example, οι ψήφοι καταμετρώνται από την Επιτροπή. Means the votes are being counted by the committee. Number 2. Words that end in ita are mainly feminine nouns and pronouns in the singular form and the plural form of neuter os ending nouns. Number 3. Words that end in iota are usually neuter nouns. For example, το σκυλί σκάβει λάκκους στον κήπο means the dog is digging up holes in the garden. Number 4. The verb forms that have an e sound in the ending will be spelled with epsilon iota. The verb πληρώ, to fulfill, however, is an exception, as its e endings are spelled with omicron iota. Following up, what about ypsilon and epsilon iota? The double vowel combination epsilon iota is very rare and it's not something you'll find at the end of a word. It's only used in the word ios, meaning son, and its derivatives. For example, iikos, of or related to a son, υιοθεσία or υιοθέτηση, adoption, υιοθετώ, to adopt, and υιοθετημένος, υιοθετημένη, υιοθετημένο, adopted. As for the words that have an epsilon in the ending that is not part of the u, av, or ev sounds, they are also not that many, so they can be easily learned. The most common ones are the is ending adjectives like βαθύς, deep, βαρύς, heavy or strong, ελαφρύς, light, ευθύς, straight, μακρύς, long, παχύς, thick or fat, and πολύς, much or many, among others. Some nouns like asti, city, βράδυ, night, μυς, muscle, δάκρυ, tear, δίχτυ, net, ισχύς, force, οξύ, acid, and στάχη, cob. Some adverbs like αντίκρι or κατάντικρι, opposite, μεταξύ, between, αναμεταξύ, among, and πολύ, very or too much or a lot. The pronoun εσύ, you. And finally, some foreign names like Sisi, Freddy, Vicky, and so on. Here are some sample sentences using words that are spelled with ypsilon. Το βράδυ κάνει κρύο. At night it's cold. Ο καφές είναι πολύ βαρύς. The coffee is very strong. Finally, what if the e sound is not at the end of a word? In that case, you need to focus on the root or the roots of compound words, because the root might remind you of words you already know. For example, if you know how to spell ύψος, height, then all the words that begin with ύψος will be spelled with ypsilon at the beginning. For example, υψόμετρο, altitude, υψηλός, tall or high, υψίπεδο, highland, ύψωμα, elevation, υψώνω, to raise, etc. Here are some sample sentences. Το χωριό βρίσκεται σε υψόμετρο 2.000 μέτρων. The village is located at an altitude of 2,000 meters. Μη μου υψώνεις τη φωνή. Don't you raise your voice at me.